Winners are not born with something special that you don't have. They don't wake up luckier, smarter, or more gifted than everyone else. Winners are created by the way they think, the way they decide, and the way they condition their minds every single day. The real difference between those who win and those who watch from the sidelines is psychology. It's not about resources, it's about resourcefulness. And once you understand this, everything changes. The psychology of a winner begins with belief. Winners believe before there is evidence. They believe before results show up. While others wait for confidence to appear, winners create it through action. They don't ask, what if I fail? They ask, what must I do to succeed? Because the questions you ask shape the focus of your mind, and the focus of your mind determines the quality of your life. When your belief is stronger than your fear, you step into a completely different identity. Winners train their minds to see challenges as fuel, not as stop signs. Where most people see problems, winners see training. They understand that pressure doesn't break you, it reveals you. Every setback is feedback. Every failure is a lesson. And instead of letting pain defeat them, they use pain as leverage to rise. They decide that no experience is wasted if it makes them stronger, wiser, and more committed. Another defining trait of winners is emotional mastery. Winners don't let their emotions control them. They control their emotions. They understand that emotion creates motion. When you change how you feel, you change how you act. When you change how you act, you change your results. That's why winners don't wait to feel motivated. They generate momentum by changing their physiology, their focus, and their language. They move their body with purpose, speak with certainty, and think with intention. Winners also live by the power of decision. A real decision is not something you think about. It's something you commit to. Once a winner decides there is no plan B, there is no retreat. They burn the boats behind them and move forward with total certainty, because clarity is power, and commitment turns ordinary people into unstoppable forces. The moment you decide who you are and what you stand for, life begins to rearrange itself to meet that standard. The psychology of winners is built on standards, not wishes. Losers hope. Winners demand more from themselves. They don't lower their goals to match their comfort. They raise their standards to match their potential. They know that success is not about what you do once in a while. It's about what you do consistently. Your daily rituals, your habits, and your discipline are shaping your destiny whether you're aware of it or not. Most importantly, winners operate from purpose. They are driven by something bigger than themselves. When you connect your goals to meaning, you unlock a level of energy that no obstacle can stop. Purpose turns exhaustion into endurance. Purpose turns fear into courage. When you know your why, you can endure almost anyhow. So if you want to think like a winner, start today. Change the way you interpret pain. Change the questions you ask. Change the standards you live by. Decide right now that you are no longer available for excuses, self-doubt, or mediocrity. Because the moment you take control of your psychology, you take control of your future. Winners are not waiting for permission. Winners are not waiting for perfect conditions. Winners decide, and then they become. The question is simple: are you ready to think, act, and live like a winner? Most people grow up believing that success is a matter of luck, that some are simply born with advantages while others are destined to struggle. But when you look closely at the lives of high achievers, a different truth appears. Their success didn't come from perfect beginnings or favorable conditions. It came from the way they thought when conditions were difficult. They learned early that circumstances do not define destiny. What defines destiny is the meaning you give to your experiences and the mindset you choose to operate from, even when everything around you says otherwise. Winners understand that belief is the starting point of all progress. Before skills are mastered, before results are visible, belief creates momentum. When someone truly believes they can grow, learn, and adapt, their mind begins to search for solutions instead of excuses. This belief shapes their focus, and focus determines behavior. While others fixate on limitations, winners lock their attention on possibility, knowing that where attention goes, energy flows. Mental conditioning is what separates those who quit from those who persist. Winners train their minds daily, just like athletes train their bodies. They monitor their thoughts, challenge negative patterns, and replace doubt with empowering questions. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? They ask, what is this teaching me? Over time, this discipline rewires their thinking, making resilience automatic rather than forced. Focus is another weapon in the psychology of winners. In a world filled with distractions, winners decide what deserves their attention and what does not. They focus on progress, not perfection, and effort, not outcome. By concentrating on what they can control, they stay in motion even when results are slow. This focus keeps them grounded, motivated, and emotionally strong, especially during moments when others give up. Winners also understand that growth is a choice, not a chance. They don't wait for motivation to strike. They create it through action. Every small step forward reinforces the belief that improvement is always possible. Even when they start behind, they commit to becoming better today than they were yesterday. This commitment to growth builds confidence, and confidence fuels consistent performance over time. Perhaps the most powerful trait of all is that winners expect results, not immediately, but inevitably. They trust the process even when progress is invisible. This expectation is not arrogance, it is conditioning. By repeatedly proving to themselves that effort leads to improvement, they develop an unshakable inner certainty. No matter where they begin, they know that with the right mindset, persistence, and focus, success is not a matter of luck, it is a matter of time. Most people wait for proof before they move. They wait for results before they believe, and they wait for confidence before they act. Winners reverse that order. They understand that evidence is not the beginning of success, it is the result of belief-driven action. When you believe first, your mind starts working in your favor, scanning for opportunities, solutions, and paths forward that were invisible when doubt was in control. Belief gives winners the courage to take the first step when the outcome is uncertain. That first step is rarely comfortable, and it is almost never perfect, but it creates momentum. Action reinforces belief, and belief fuels further action. This cycle is what separates progress from paralysis. While others hesitate, waiting to feel ready, winners move forward knowing that readiness is created in motion, not in waiting. Confidence is not something winners magically possess, it is something they build. Every action taken in alignment with belief becomes a personal victory, no matter how small. These victories stack over time, transforming fear into familiarity and uncertainty into strength. Winners don't ask themselves if they are confident enough. They ask what action will make them stronger right now, and then they take it. Belief also shapes how winners respond to setbacks. When results don't appear immediately, they don't interpret it as failure, they interpret it as feedback. Their belief keeps them grounded during delays and setbacks, allowing them to adjust rather than quit. Instead of losing faith when success takes time, they deepen it, trusting that growth is happening even when progress is not yet visible. Winners use belief as an anchor during moments of doubt. They remind themselves that every great achievement in history began as an idea that lacked evidence. They choose to believe in their potential before the world validates it. This internal certainty allows them to stand strong against criticism, rejection, and temporary defeat, knowing that belief sustained long enough will eventually create proof. Over time, belief becomes a habit, not a struggle. Acting with certainty trains the mind to expect success, making confidence feel natural rather than forced. The more consistently winners act from belief, the more their identity shifts from someone who hopes to someone who knows. And once belief becomes part of who they are, progress is no longer a question, it becomes inevitable. Most people see challenges as signs to stop, slow down, or turn back. Winners see them as signals to level up. When adversity appears, it is not an enemy, it is an invitation to grow stronger. Every obstacle forces a decision, retreat into comfort, or rise into capability. Winners choose growth, knowing that the path to any meaningful achievement is paved with resistance that shapes strength and character. Setbacks become powerful once you change the meaning you give them. Winners don't label failure as defeat, they label it as information. When something doesn't work, they don't ask, "What's wrong with me?" They ask, "What can this teach me?" That shift in perspective transforms disappointment into insight. Instead of draining energy, failure becomes a source of clarity, revealing what needs adjustment, improvement, or refinement. Challenges also build emotional endurance. Each time a winner pushes through discomfort, their tolerance for pressure increases. What once felt overwhelming becomes manageable, and what once felt impossible becomes familiar. This repeated exposure to difficulty trains the nervous system to stay calm under stress. Over time, winners don't just survive pressure, they perform better because of it. Failure sharpens strategy in ways success never can. Easy wins teach little, but hard lessons reveal everything. Winners analyze their setbacks with honesty and discipline, identifying weaknesses without self-judgment. They refine their approach, strengthen their skills, and return smarter than before. Every failure adds precision to their strategy, making future success more deliberate and less accidental. Resilience is not something winners are born with. It is built through repetition. Each challenge faced and overcome reinforces the belief that quitting is not an option. Even when results are delayed, persistence becomes a habit. Winners learn to trust themselves, not because the road is smooth, but because they have proven they can endure rough terrain and still move forward. Eventually, challenges stop feeling like threats and start feeling like preparation. Winners recognize that the struggles they endure today are shaping the strength they will need tomorrow. What once tested them now equips them. By using adversity as fuel instead of allowing it to become a barrier, they rise not despite their challenges, but because of them. Most people believe their emotions control their actions, but winners understand the opposite is true. Emotions are not permanent states. They are signals that can be influenced and directed. Winners don't deny how they feel, but they refuse to be trapped by it. They recognize that emotions shape behavior and behavior shapes results. So learning to manage emotional state becomes a powerful advantage in every area of life. Focus is the first lever winners use to take control of their emotions. Whatever you focus on expands in your experience. When attention is locked on problems, frustration grows. When focus shifts to solutions, strength emerges. Winners consciously direct their attention toward what they can control, what they can learn, and what they can improve. This shift in focus instantly changes emotional energy, replacing overwhelm with clarity and purpose. Physiology is another critical tool in emotional mastery. Winners understand that the body influences the mind as much as the mind influences the body. The way you stand, breathe, and move sends signals to your brain about how to feel. By changing posture, breathing deeply, and moving with intensity, winners generate energy even when motivation feels low. Action creates emotion, not the other way around. Inner language is the silent force shaping emotional momentum. Winners pay attention to the words they use when speaking to themselves. Instead of saying, "I'm exhausted," or "this is impossible," they choose empowering language that fuels strength and determination. This isn't pretending, it's conditioning. The language you use programs your nervous system to either expand or collapse under pressure. When focus, physiology, and language align, momentum becomes inevitable. Winners don't wait for inspiration to strike, they manufacture it. By deliberately shifting their state, they turn hesitation into movement and doubt into determination. Each action taken from a powerful emotional state reinforces confidence, creating a loop of positive energy and consistent progress. Over time, emotional mastery becomes automatic. Winners no longer react impulsively to stress or setbacks, they respond with intention. They stay centered during chaos and energized during challenge. This ability to regulate emotion is what allows them to show up consistently, perform at a high level, and keep moving forward when others lose direction. Most people believe their future is shaped by circumstances, but winners know it is shaped by decisions. Every result in life, success, struggle, growth, or regret can be traced back to a choice made or avoided. Winners understand that indecision is itself a decision, often one that leads nowhere. Instead of drifting, they choose direction, knowing that clarity begins the moment a firm decision is made. A true decision is different from a wish. Wishing leaves room for excuses. Deciding eliminates them. Winners commit with their whole being, not just their words. When they decide, they cut off the option of retreat. There is no "I'll try," only "I will." This level of commitment creates inner strength and sends a powerful message to the mind that quitting is not an option, no matter how challenging the path becomes. Raising standards is a natural result of decisive living. Winners don't ask what they can get away with, they ask what they are capable of becoming. By demanding more from themselves, they align their actions with a higher identity. These standards influence daily habits, work ethic, and discipline. Over time, life begins to respond to these elevated expectations, matching the level of certainty and effort applied. Hesitation drains energy and clouds judgment. Winners avoid overthinking by acting from clarity rather than fear. They understand that waiting for perfect conditions only delays progress. Once a direction is chosen, they move forward decisively, trusting that adjustments can be made along the way. Action clears confusion, and momentum replaces doubt. Certainty is not about knowing every step in advance. It's about trusting yourself to handle whatever appears. Winners develop this trust by repeatedly honoring their decisions. Each follow through strengthens self-belief, reinforcing the identity of someone who keeps promises to themselves. This inner confidence becomes unshakable even when outcomes are uncertain. As decisions compound over time, destiny begins to take shape. Small choices made consistently create massive transformation. Winners don't rely on luck or chance, they rely on commitment and clarity. By deciding fully, raising their standards, and moving forward without retreat, they create lives that reflect intention, purpose, and unstoppable progress. Effort without purpose quickly turns into exhaustion. When people don't know why they are pushing themselves, every obstacle feels heavier and every setback feels personal. Winners understand that purpose is not just inspiration, it is fuel. When your goals are tied to something meaningful, effort stops feeling like sacrifice and starts feeling like service to a bigger mission that matters deeply to you. A powerful why gives direction to energy. Instead of chasing goals for approval, money, or status alone, winners connect their actions to values, contribution, and impact. This connection creates emotional strength that doesn't disappear when motivation fades. On hard days, purpose steps in and says, "Keep going." It reminds winners that what they are building is bigger than temporary discomfort. Purpose has the unique ability to transform fear into courage. Fear doesn't vanish, but it loses control. When the reason behind action is stronger than the fear of failure, courage naturally rises. Winners move forward not because they feel fearless, but because their mission matters more than their doubts. Purpose gives them a reason to act despite uncertainty, criticism, and risk. Persistence becomes natural when effort is driven by meaning. Without purpose, people quit when results are slow. With purpose, they endure. Winners stay committed because they are emotionally invested in the outcome. Every step forward feels significant, and every setback feels like part of a larger journey rather than a reason to stop. This long-term commitment is what separates temporary success from lasting achievement. Purpose also brings clarity during chaos. When distractions and pressure increase, winners return to their why for guidance. It helps them make better decisions, prioritize what truly matters, and let go of what doesn't. This clarity keeps their energy focused instead of scattered, allowing consistent progress even in uncertain environments. Over time, purpose reshapes identity. Winners no longer see their efforts as tasks to complete, but as expressions of who they are becoming. Their goals evolve into missions, and their work becomes meaningful. When purpose drives action, motivation renews itself, effort gains power, and success becomes not just attainable, but sustainable. In the end, the psychology of winners is not a mystery. It is a choice. A choice to believe before there is proof, to act before confidence appears, and arise when challenges test resolve. Winners understand that mindset shapes reality, that emotions can be mastered, and that every setback carries the seeds of growth. They don't wait for luck, permission, or perfect conditions. They decide who they are, raise their standards, and move forward with certainty. When belief becomes stronger than fear, challenges become fuel, and purpose becomes the driving force. Effort transforms into power. This is how ordinary people create extraordinary lives, not by chance, but by commitment. The moment you take control of your focus, your emotions, and your decisions, you take control of your destiny. The question is no longer whether success is possible, but whether you are willing to think, act, and live like a winner starting now.